Well, here we are, Thursday morning, Cornishman Day. So everybody's all right, staying safe, staying well. I mean, this drop rain, we've had a fantastic few days, haven't we, really? I mean, it's been lovely. Anybody down on holiday now think they're in heaven? Well, they are in heaven because they're in hell. That's the most important. But this drop of rain will do good. This Sinbad, this Sinbad is, and I'm picking my first cucumbers now, so that's a good sign. Just got wait. My tomatoes are almost ready, so there we are. We've got a few of them to do. But anyhow, everybody's safe and well. That's the most important. Now we've got Joan Weir today. It's her birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Joan. Hope you have a lovely day. Now, there's a dear friend of mine, David Chapman, over there, Townsend, a great friend of mine. David and Sarah have been friends of ours for lots and lots of years. So I just hope you have a lovely day today, David, and I eat plenty of chocolate biscuits. That's all I can say, boy. If you haven't got none home, come down here. Now, anyhow, Suzanne Benny is tomorrow. Happy birthday to you, um, Suzanne, tomorrow. And we've got David Inch. It's his birthday as well tomorrow. So you all have a lovely time. That's all I can say. Now, I'm going to do another little Cornish story today, The Mermaid of Zennor. One fine Sunday morning in Zennor Church, perched on the cliffs of Penweath, the choir and the congregation were ready for service when through the church door came a strange lady of unearthly beauty. Her green eyes looked back calmly at the villagers who were staring, for newcomers were rare in that far-flung parish. Her tawny gold hair flowed down over her back, wild and untrained. The long dress she wore swept to the ground like a bride's train, and was made of some material that no one there had ever seen, for it shimmered like the sea on a sunny day. She sat near to the door in a pew on her own, away from other people. In the choir were some fine singers, but none finer than Mathy a handsome young man who sang a clear high tenor. His voice could be heard all over Zenner Church town when he wished. As the choristers sang their hymns and psalms, Matthew became aware of the stranger looking at him with those emerald green, mysterious eyes. When he looked at her, it seemed to him that a queer, faint smile hovered over her face. After the service, she was the first to leave the church, and those who went out after her thought it strange how rapidly she had disappeared, as they could not see her anywhere outside. 5 or 6 times this unknown lady came to Zeno Church, always on a fine day, and always she sat apart from the congregation, watching Matthew and listening to every note he sang. Her eyes seemed to look right through him, and her gaze somehow reminded him of the dim lights in caves under sea. He determined that somehow he would find out who she was. The next time she appeared in the church, he was ready. Before the end of the service, as the parson gave the benediction, Matthew slipped from the choir stalls and let himself out of the little side door of the church. And so, as soon as the lady emerged, first as usual from the main door, he was at her side. She smiled as if she had been expecting him, and took his arm, and thus they left the churchyard together. People coming after them saw them take the winding path that led down the valley towards the sea. This was the last Senner saw of Matthew Trawilla. His old mother was heartbroken for a long time, but at least she had other grown children to comfort her. The story of how Matthew disappeared was a stranger was a great mystery, often talked about and unsolved for many years. In fact, 2 generations have been born and grew up in the village, and old Mrs. Trawilla was in her grave before news came of him. A ship bound for Penzance and captained by a man who knew Zenner well came by one day and anchored off Pendower Cove. She put out a boat to get some water from the shore. Soon a woman's voice was heard calling urgently, "Ship, ship ahoy!" And the watch, looking overboard, saw a mermaid with green eyes and tawny gold hair swimming beside them. "Tell your captain to haul up your anchor," she cried, "for 'tis lodged against the door of my home on the seabed, and I can't get to my Mathy and children." At this the captain came to the side and questioned her. "Excuse me, ma'am, what do you say about Mathy? Mathy who, may I ask?" Sailors are always very respectful to mermaids who have powers to cause shipwreck and disaster, and often use them if they are annoyed. "Matthew Trawilla, my husband, of course," she said. "Now haul away, if you please." The captain did not stay to argue, but brought up the anchor immediately, and with a swish from her long gleaming tail she was gone, diving down to the seabed and her family. So Zeno heard the news and learned Mather's fate. Neither he nor the mermaid ever been seen since. But in center church now is a bench and carved to show what she looked like. Long flowing hair, a sea seren's face, and a curved scaly tail. And for all we know, Matthew is still down there on the ocean floor, singing sweetly to his mermaid and his children. Well, thanks very much. Have a nice weekend.